So if you're trying to get that right arm driving in front of you in the downswing, like we see all the best players in the world, which results in great compression of the golf ball, great shallowing of the shaft and good rotation, it's a huge recipe to play good golf. But no matter how hard you try to drive that right arm in, you can't do it. Well, I'm going to show you in this video how to always get the right arm in front of you. And this is something where you need to nail your setup, you need your backswing to be functional with that trail arm, and you need your downswing to be good. Now, with the downswing especially, it's not what you think. You actually don't need to do anything with your trail arm to get it in front, so we'll dive into that and some good drills to get into. So let's get straight into it on setup. So setup is crucial to getting the trail arm in front of you in the downswing. If you have a poor setup, you're not going to be able to do it. It's simple as that. So what I want to see golfers do, I want to see golfers have their inside the trail elbow point either in front of them or slightly to the left. And I want them to have a slight bend in their trail arm as well. So what that's going to help you with, that's going to help you as you start to move back to fold up the trail arm nicely, which we're going to talk about in the second section for backswing as well in this video. So that is going to be crucial then to be able to get the trail arm naturally in front of you in that downswing. And the slight bend of the arm is just going to make it so as you move back, you're not going to be too extended, which will then internally rotate the shoulder more. Because what we see a lot of amateur golfers do, they'll set up like this, inside the trail elbow, pointing down the target or slightly right, and their trail arm will be incredibly straight, which gives a weak right hand grip as well. And then as they start to move back, they have to pull the trail arm in. That's the only movement they can do, so they've got no hope of getting in front. So again, inside the trail elbow, pointing in front, maybe slightly to the left of you for a right-handed golfer. Slight relax in that trail arm. Make sure your grip is still solid from there, with your right hand aligned between thumb and the meat of the hand, pointing towards kind of like right pec or right armpit, because a lot of golfers will get in this good right arm spot and then just put their hand on the side of the club. Still make sure it's good. So once we got those keys in there, it's so much easier to get that trail arm in. So ultimately, what we're doing in this video is stacking the cards in our favor. A lot of golfers make golf way too difficult for themselves. So here we go, let's hit one. And lovely, so nicely and effortlessly just got in front of my trail arm, got in there, and that is exactly what we need to be doing at setup. So now the backswing, so incredibly important again. So again, only possible if we get the setup right. So with that backswing, we want to be folding up the trail arm. So when you fold up your trail arm, ultimately what you're doing, you're making sure your trail arm here doesn't get behind the seam line of your shirt, which is ultimately when we're getting the right arm in front of us, that's what we're referring to, in front of the middle of your side or seam line. If we fold up, we're going to be nicely in a good spot. So ultimately what we're doing here, we're doing a half bicep curl. So like we're in the gym, bicep curling, where it'll be your forearm coming up to your bicep for a full repetition. We're doing half of one. So ultimately, I mean, I don't like to get into degrees too much on this channel, but it's where you're like 90 degrees there. But then of course, we're turning up to the top, but we're staying wide as well. So we want to have half a bicep curl, but make sure your backswing is wide, because if we get too narrow, you're going to overfold your trail arm. So we want to make sure nice and wide there, brilliant. So folding up that trail arm, half bicep curl, brilliant feel. Going to get to a good drill at the end of the video for this. But also we need to have that right hip move deeper in the backswing. So this is where hip turn is such a huge thing when it comes to keeping that right arm in front, because we talked about the seam line. So if we don't turn, for example, and we get up towards the top, we're going to have no depth for the arms. They're just going to stay in front of us, up to the top with no backswing rotation. Backswing rotation brings the hands and arms around. So even if we drive that trail arm nicely in, the club's going to fall way out in front of us. So we need to move the middle, our seam line, more back via rotating the hips, or even better, getting more hip depth. So depth means more behind. More you turn those hips, the more that seam line's going to move more back, which ultimately gives you space to be able to naturally get the trail arm in front and not have any negatives happen with path. So if we look here, for example, just with this alignment stick, which is a great drill just to do for the visual, is you put this through your belt loops and then get the trail side of this stick to move back. And this has so many more benefits to it. Power, a big one, shallowing the shaft, so many good ones that this stick drill can really help with. So I'm just using it just to get that stick moving back. So we want half a bicep curl going up, and we want our trail side to be moving more back. So that's where we could clearly see, if we don't move that trail side, the stick doesn't move at all. So, okay, half bicep curl. Move that trail side back. That's our goal. That's going to make it so much easier to naturally get that trail arm in front, because we're going to then be getting it in front of the seam line in a functional way. So here we go. Okay, so downswing again. Downswing, getting that trail arm in front is only possible if we've done those setup and backswing moves. Those aren't things that are, let's say, just a little thing that golfers can do to help improve them to be able to get that trail arm. This will make you get that trail arm in front. So I view these as necessities for vast majority of all golfers to get that trail arm in front for setup and backswing. So downswing, ultimately you don't have to worry about your trail arm at all, really, in that downswing. We actually have to focus on what the hips do, and that gets the trail arm in front. So let me describe here. So let's say I've done everything I've talked about just before. Now, as I'm starting to turn down, if my left hip goes back to start off that downswing, that's going to move me into hip flexion. So left hip is what clears that downswing, as we all know from my videos. But what that does, that flexes the upper body down. Now look what happens to the trail arm. As we do that, it naturally gets in front, which is why when we turn, we want that trail side to get deeper, gives us space. So when we do get that lead side going back, the trail arm nicely falls in front. I'm not trying to drive it in, which is what so many golfers are trying to do, trying to drive it in. It's good to feel it, absolutely, as an exaggeration. I've got a drill like that for you in a minute. But that's not our actual thing that gets the trail arm successfully in front. It is moving into hip flexion, which forces the upper body to flex down, and we just keep pushing that trail hip back, and we move through the proper sequencing in a downswing. And because that trail arm's in front, we get that lovely compression. Of course, we get that shallowing of the shaft, but it's a byproduct of movements in the golf swing. So it's a byproduct. It's a good trail arm movement. So, okay, we really want to get that left hip moving back. That's our key. I've got a great drill for you to do with this, and one that gets that trail arm always into a good spot. So let's give it a good go. Let's get into these drills. So my first drill out of these two drills here is one that ultimately gives you the feeling, again, of the trail arm. It's our exaggeration drill, but it also warms up your shoulder capsule a little bit. So this is called the nunchuck drill. I use this with so many of my students on Skillist. What we want to do, grab the club head with your hand, flip it over to where shaft is now on the right side of your right forearm, grip it with your left hand there on the grip, turn up to top, get that good deep turn. And now from that, what you want to do is get that left hip moving back and just give this a little pull. Just so if any golfer like myself has poor range of movement in their capability in their shoulder capsule, I've got very, very poor external rotation. This, of course, really helps you with that. So here we go, left hip going back, just giving it a little tug in there just to help prime the movement and exaggerate it. So it really gives you a good stretch, so be warned of that. Do that as much as you can if you really struggle with that trail arm movement. Now, our second drill is what I want pretty much all golfers watching this video to do whilst they're hitting balls. So what this is going to do, this is going to make sure the trail arm is folding up nicely in our backswing and having good width via a ball training aid, and having something like a chair drill, like you've all seen from my channel if you're avid watchers, or stool here, because I'm at tee to green in air in Scotland, so having a simulator place like this is a very, very good one. If you're, of course, in the area, west coast of Scotland, maybe playing the top golf courses, come down here and have a practice. There is a link in the description to get a discount off your session as well. So if we're using that stool and that chair, it's going to help us move our hips into flexion. So, okay, ball training aid in between the arms. Lovely. Okay, so I've got the one from JChownGolf as well, and there is absolutely, again, another discount code in the description. So, okay, so putting this in between the arms is going to make sure I'm folding up my trail arm nicely, because if I start to pull the trail arm away, that's going to result in the ball dropping. So this keeps the arms nicely close together, which is a byproduct of good folding. But it also encourages you to get good width, because again, if you get the club narrow, moving up, it's going to feel horrible. It's going to try to fall out your arms again. So just keeping this in between the arms for the entirety of the swing sorts out the right arm staying in front of the seam line. So now we want it to be functional, and we want it to happen naturally when we take this all away. So that's why we've got the chair here. So I set up with the chair or stool just about half a grip's distance behind me, and then what I want to do, back my hip up whilst I'm turning to get the stick touching or getting closer touching, and then left hip going back so I can get myself into that good hip flexion. So it encompasses everything we've been talking about in this video very, very nicely. So keep this in between the arms. You'd really only be able to do half swing to start off with. That's absolutely fine. And then get this hips touching or backing up onto our stool or chair or box, whatever you want to put there. So let's do a couple smooth ones. So really don't care what that ball goes like. I absolutely chunked that a little bit. I was going too soft. So again, don't care how you hit the ball doing it. I just want you getting the movement today. And there's one little thing here, guys. I mean, probably seen with my shots before, I've all a little bit left on that green. Today is just a day where my club face does not want to cooperate with me. It really is. So we all have those days, as we know. We'll turn up to practice and something will feel a little bit different, which is me today. Absolutely. Club face control isn't the best, so this actually could be a very good drill for me to practice in between filming videos. So again, keep it in between the arms, hips back, gets you into hip flexion, which gets naturally the movement. This just ensures us with the ball in between the arms. So there we go. Oh, I actually quite like seeing that today, a ball starting right. Tells you what we're like as golfers as well here, guys. When I was warming up before filming my videos today, I thought something's wrong with the calibration of this TrackMan. We all blame other things in us, don't we? Even me as a professional, I will still, my first thought will be, can't be me. It's got to be the clubs, it's got to be, it's got to be the TrackMan. Of course it's not, it's us, absolutely. So we can see with this for sure, not hitting it left at all. So another one. Lovely. Whew, that's better. So then what we do, what I'd recommend, take things away. But here's the thing, guys, when you're doing drills, do them as much as you possibly can. Let's get that out of the shot of the camera. There we go. So do your drills as much as possible, because what are the drills doing? One, they're giving you feels. Drills create the feels. Absolutely. That's why through feels, you only really know your personal feel from doing one. But also, what's it doing? It is retraining your subconscious brain. It is getting that myelin sheath thicker for the movement pattern we want. So let's do one again. Now we know what we need to feel. Let's go straight into it and then get some good practice in. That's already a little bit straighter for me, which is good. Oh, I could see the face on the impact. Turning over a little bit. One of those days for me, but if I practice that more, that would straighten up a lot and a lot more. So, guys, this is how to always get the trail arm in front in the downswing. And once you do this, you're going to be hitting the golf ball so much better. So if you enjoyed this video, click that like button for more golf instruction just like this. Hit the subscribe button, hit that bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video.